Hi, my name is Taya Farrow and I'm here at Leominster High with Coach Palazzi about the upcoming Thanksgiving game. Coach Palazzi, could you compare and contrast when you played in the Thanksgiving game in high school to how the kids are now? Do you see anything different from then to now?
Well, I was fortunate enough to play in the 100th game. Both schools were tied 45-45 at the time with 9 ties, so it was a pretty big deal. I think the rivalry still remains. I think the kids get pretty excited about it. I would just say most of the difference now is there's a lot of technology and media, and kids kind of talk about the game there, and less of it's played on the field, I think. And I'd like to see that obviously change a little bit, where we respect the game and play the game on the field and be good sports about it. But I think for the most part, nothing has really changed. I think it's still there. I think both schools are very passionate about their teams, and it really brings out the best in both schools. I love the game. I think people want to see this game continue for another 100 years.
Could you explain the positive things about the rivalry? How does the rivalry help improve the players?
I just think I think it's a teachable moment for our kids in both schools. Neither one of us exists without each other, and I think we forget that. I think everybody's motivated to win. Everybody's rooting for their own school, but I think the most important thing is to just keep it respectable and really root for your own team and stop antagonizing the other team, so to speak. But I think it's just good for everybody. It's a part of growth in your high school experience to say you've been a part of one of the longest standing rivalries in the country. Not many people get to say that. When you get older like myself, I'm very good friends with a lot of the ex-Fitchburg players. I think we look back at the game and realize what an important part of the game it played in our lives as athletes. So I'm very excited for the game. I really respect that game. I respect Fitchburg, and I want to try to obviously get my players to have that same type of respect for the game, for the players, and what it's all about. It's not about who's going to beat who and kill who on Instagram and Snapchat. It's about the game itself, which is bigger than every individual.
As of last year, Fitchburg High broke Leominster's 9-year winning streak. Do you think we will keep that going? Why or why not? Do you think Leominster will redeem themselves?
I think you guys certainly could keep that going. Obviously the game's played on the field, and you guys have a very well-coached team. You guys have a lot of talent, and it all comes down to that day. Who plays better that day? Who's ready for the game mentally, physically, emotionally? And you got to go out there and execute. I think you guys had a terrific game last year. You deserve to win. Obviously, we were not happy about that, so we're going to prepare. And it is what it is. Everybody plays to win that game. And the beauty of being a part of this rivalry. Neither one of us made the playoffs, but I think this is our Super Bowl Thanksgiving morning, and it's an exciting game. And we're hoping. Obviously, we want to win, but you can want and pray and hope all you want, but eventually you got to go out there and play the game. So we're just hoping we show up this year and have a great game, and we're able to win the game.
As a coach, what motivates you to make you and your team better?
I think just football is, as any sport, it's just it's a learning experience. It helps you grow as a person, teaches you how to become more of a teammate and less of an individual. I think in the life that we live in today, there is a lot of individuality going. You can be the star of your own show on your own video, but I think that's one of the things I enjoy most, is just trying to teach the kids how to be more about the team than themselves, and seeing that come to fruition, win or lose. Seeing the kids strive for something that they never thought possible as an individual, but as a team, they're able to achieve that. And it's happened for us this year on a few occasions. Our record may not reflect that, but I think for the most part, just being a part of the team, being a part of Leominster or Fitchburg, I think that's most important. When you move on and you look back, you're not going to remember your individual performances. You're going to remember the team moments that you had, and that's kind of what I try to teach the kids that I have. Really, it's about the team. You're going to remember more of that than you are the individual.
Could you explain your mindset you have before the game and how you get your team going?
The mindset, it's a violent game. It's tough. I'm constantly trying to teach these kids to be students during the day, and then after school and at night during the games, they got to become really violent and play the game, and they got to hit. So you kind of got to get into that mentality that it's you against the world, but you want to prepare yourself and keep your emotions in check. But just going over the plays, what plays I'm going to call on different downs and different situational things that are going to happen during the game, and what negative things may happen and how I'm going to handle those situations. So it's more of the mental aspect of what's going to happen in the game is how I prepare myself. It's more things that I talk to my kids about, that mental preparation and going through what they need to do to be successful.
Thank you, Coach Velazzi, for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us today. Good luck on Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You guys did a great job. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Taya Favreau, and I am here with Coach DiGeronimo to talk about the upcoming Thanksgiving game. Coach D, how do you think that things have changed when you played in the Thanksgiving Day game?
Well, I know a lot of things have changed as far as, obviously the game of football has changed. It's evolved different, it's being played differently today than it was back when I was in high school. And with, social media, having access to watch the game on TV, I think on that perspective, that's changed just how the game is being, viewed by the fans. As far as the game itself, I think the intensity of the rivalry is still there, that, it's an important day, that kids, get out there, they're representing their schools. But, overall, I think with the exception that, how you can access the game today and the availability of social media, that has been the big change. But the game itself still is being played on the field on Thanksgiving morning, when basically the two cities are shut down for this one day.
Yeah. Could you explain the positive things about the rivalry? How does the rivalry improve the players?
Well, I think the real positive is that it's about the kids that day. It's about the students, the athletes, the cheerleaders, the band, the fans. That I think that's really positive, that they have a one day a year where, like I said, the cities are shut down and the focus is on what they do on the field, and how the cheerleaders and the band, how well they play, and in the fan section. So I think that's great, for the two cities, and and to, as far as improving our plays, it's just having something that's really important for their school, and playing for their community and their school and their families, and having pride. And also honoring the opportunity to play in this game. This game's gone on for, well over 100 years, and, honoring it, because it is special. Obviously it's the second longest rivalry in the country, and, to me it's an honor to play in it. So, I think you can learn a lot from that.
That's great. As of last year, we broke Leominster's 9-year winning streak. How do you plan on going into this game to get a new streak?
Well, we're going to go into this game, obviously ready to play and positive. But as far as streaks go, all streaks come to an end at some point, and that's the least of our thoughts right now. It's more going to be preparation, making sure our kids are physically and mentally ready to go out and play the best games of their lives. But we really don't talk about streaks or anything like that, because you can get caught up in that stuff, and it's one game, and it's a different year. So I'm just hopeful our kids play hard, and we come out on the right side.
I like that. As a coach, what motivates you to make your team and you better?
Well, what motivates me is the opportunity to work with kids, and it goes well beyond football. Yeah, you want to make sure they're great athletes, great football players, but in the long run, it's making sure that they're good men, that they're good fathers and husbands down the road, and teaching them about discipline and about commitment, about trust, about being selfless, that there's more than me, that in order to be successful, it takes a group of people. And there's so many lessons that we can learn, through athletics, but I think more so through the game of football, because it's really so team-driven that in order to be successful, you need all 11 guys doing their job. So, that's what motivates me, that hopefully they can take something that we've taught them or some lesson they've learned and apply it to life down the road, so they are successful, because that's where the wins and losses really come. When guys you've coached and kids you've worked with in school, what their lives are like later on, that they've taken things that we've tried to instill in them and that they've adapted it to their life, and it's been positive.
Could you explain your mindset you have before the game and how you get the team going?
My mindset, me personally, I get kind of pretty, a little bit agitated, to be honest with you, because I really am so detail orientated that I want to make sure that things are in place and, to a fault. I mean, it's probably not a healthy thing, but, I'm pretty focused on making sure that we're taking care of the little things and that we don't overlook things and that our preparation is, that we've gotten the right preparation, have done the right things to prepare for a football game. And, I'm pretty focused. I try to stay focused, but we all prepare differently. So, my mindset is that we're going to go in, we're going to play hard and, do the right things and eliminate mistakes and, hopefully go out and come back with a victory.
Thank you, Coach D, for taking your time out of your busy schedule to come talk with me today. Good luck on the Thanksgiving
Thank you,
Day.
and thanks for having me.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Vanessa Wood, and I'm here with the Leominster football captains.
Adam Coach, Gabe Wise,
Connor Marchand,
Zach Halliday.
Zach Del Judas.
Do you have any pregame rituals?
Yeah, a lot of the time during the week we watch a lot of film, and on Thursday nights we always have our frosty suppers, and then on game day we like to just stay focused and just get ready for the game.
How do you keep your team positive and working hard?
We just try to encourage and motivate our teammates regardless of the outcome of the game, win or lose. We just got to keep pushing.
How does the Thanksgiving rivalry game differ from all the others?
Thanksgiving for us is not just some game played like in other cities and schools. Thanksgiving is historical, it's tradition. I mean, we go out there, we don't just play for ourselves and for our team, we play for our city, and it's just really historical.
Do you have any things that you wish you could have done differently this season?
I don't think we could have done anything differently. We worked hard every practice. All of our teammates put the work in. We just didn't have the outcomes in games that we wanted.
Do you have any relatives that have played in the past games?
Yeah, my dad and all three of my uncles played this game, and they all beat Pittsburgh before. All right, we got to play the game, and I'm hoping that I can follow in their footsteps too.
Thank you for speaking with me today about the game. Good luck on the field.
Thank you.
I'm Vanessa Wood, and I'm here with the Fitchburg football captains.
Angel Santiago, number 7, outside linebacker.
Ozzie Guy Jr., number 2, wide receiver.
Drew Brooks, number 15, quarterback.
Devin DeLeon, number 9, wide receiver.
Rocco Archipretti, number 56, inside linebacker.
Do you have any pregame rituals?
So a couple of pregame rituals that we have is the whole team does a walkthrough a couple hours before the game in just their helmets and jerseys. And then we just get everything situated. We find out what we're going to do. We run through plays, offensive and defensively, and we just focus. That's where we start to focus before the game. And then after that, the seniors have a talk with the coaches, and we just find out what we have to do to win the game.
How do you keep your team positive and hardworking?
To stay positive, we just take responsibilities of the things we can't control. Coaches are always getting on us about not worrying about the things that we can't control. And to stay hardworking, we just teach the younger guys the culture of Fitchburg football, and we just push them to make us better.
How does the Thanksgiving rivalry game differ from all the others?
Well, I think everyone else here can agree, especially as someone who's been playing for 4 years in the Thanksgiving game. It's a different feel than other games. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of, especially with the fans more than the players, especially because I remember there was one guy on the top of a rooftop, like watching the game on the top of his roof for my freshman year. And then another time, sophomore year, there was a guy with a couch on the sidelines of Doyle Field. eating popcorn, and it's just different. Everybody loves the game, and it's just a different feeling than anything else.
Do you have any things that you wish you could have done differently this season?
Yeah, leading up to each game each week, I wish our preparation was different. I wish that we took advantage of it more. We just didn't take it for granted. And I wish that we could have made the season kind of last longer. It went by pretty fast, so I just wish we could have made it last longer.
Do you have any family members that have played in the past at Thanksgiving Day games?
Although my mother and father didn't graduate from Fitchburg High School, an uncle of mine played back when Coach Cosenza was the coach, and I'm pretty sure they were, successful that year in 2000, and hopefully we can come out like them.
Thank you for speaking with me today about the game. Good luck on the field.
Hi everyone, I'm here with Barry Hudson, the coach of hockey here at Leominster High School, also the band director, but I'm here to talk about bands, so we're going to get right into it. The Thanksgiving game's coming up, of course, it's that season, so we're going to go right into the questions here. Breakfast of the Band started in 1993. How did this come about?
Well, back in the day, and it was right after I graduated from high school, we had Proposition 2.5, and things started to decline economically. And, when they start to cut things, band and arts, it's always the first to go. So this parent, Paul Garvin, I believe his name is, I think he had a student in the band at Fitchburg, and he decided to put together this thing called the band breakfast. I'm not sure if the Rotary actually jumped on board right away, or if they were the catalyst behind it, but we've been doing it ever since, and it's been a great thing. We have nothing but praise for the Rotary, both Fitchburg and Leominster. They work together for the band kids. It's great to see the band kids get together and work towards raising money for each other's bands. It's a great community event, and for me, personally, I know a lot of people feel this way, it's a great way to jumpstart Thanksgiving, being together, having breakfast, listening to music, seeing the kids work together. It's just an awesome event to jumpstart our Thanksgiving. So that's about it.
All right, awesome. So what makes the music played specifically at the Thanksgiving game special or unique, or is it not, or is it the same?
Well, we play the same music at all the games. Traditionally, the alma maters are played, and that is a very special thing. As Coach Palazzi mentioned, it's going to be one of the oldest, if not the oldest, rivalry in the country. And it's a tremendous honor for our band students to be part of that. And knowing that it's going down in the history books, knowing we look back years from now that they're in that. Our music plays a part in that. When the football team needs a little boost, we play some songs that kind of get them going. When the crowd seems to be a little bit bored, we play some music to get them going. So for allowing the band, to be part of it, we're just honored to be part of that historical rivalry. And it's a fun time for them.
So, third question. How do you believe the game affects the morale of the players? So just before the game, during the game?
I know for our communities are special throughout the nation. When you have a rivalry that you go head to head every year, it's something that the boys look forward to. For us, it's something that we look forward to getting together with each other. So the game it's called the game. It's a special time for our communities. Not only that, it's a special time for our schools. It's a special time for our athletes and band kids. The game has roller coaster parts of it. Sometimes it's a little boring, to be honest, and then sometimes it's terrifically exciting. Obviously for our school, when we're winning, that's the exciting part. And so our band, I think, in my mind, I want to believe that we play a big part of that, and we try to help out when we can. So, we'll try to do what we can to help the players play their best.
Awesome, positivity, wow. So last question, best question. What type of music should people expect at the game?
Well, we just went to the middle schools today to kind of jack up the city a little bit and get our younger band members going. And so on the board is a little sneak to our playlist. So we have some drum beats, we have the LHS Fight song, Apache, the Hay song, we're going to play Rock Lobster, Hand Clap, Havana, Sweet Caroline, Fireball. So that's probably a fourth of the songs that we'll play for Thanksgiving. We're looking forward to a great day. Like I said, it's always great for our kids to interact, our cities. It's a special time, and there's no place better to be in New England or throughout the country, as a matter of fact, during Thanksgiving than our Thanksgiving Day. So thank you very much for coming over. You guys did a great job. I want to thank you for interviewing us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being part of this interview. Thank you to Barry Hudson, coach of hockey, also the band director here at Leominster High School. I'm Matt Crouch, Triple R News.
Hi, I'm Zarkeem Climbs, and I have the very pleasure of interviewing the band director, Ms. Greenlease, and Zachariah Adamu. Now, Zach, could you tell everybody out there a little bit more about Breakfast of the Bands, like what to expect when you go to the Breakfast of the Bands, and what do the proceeds go towards?
So basically the Breakfast of the Bands is for the Fitchburg High School band students and the Leominster High School band students to come together before the game and to enjoy breakfast and music, and for all of our family and friends to come together and enjoy the lively music and breakfast we provide with the purchase of our, I believe, $8 tickets or something like that.
That's correct.
And basically the proceeds go towards both bands, right down the middle, or of however much we sell. It's just great fun.
All right, and now, Ms. Greenlease, when is this event taking place?
So the Breakfast for the Bands is the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So this year it's Sunday, November 18th. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and goes until 11:30. As Zach said, tickets are $8 for adults, and children under 8 eat for free. You can purchase tickets from various locations within Fitchburg and in Leominster. You can buy tickets on the day. You can even come to Fitchburg High School and we'll sell you a ticket. It's a great event. The Rotarians from both Leominster and Fitchburg have been doing this for about 25 years now, and it's an incredible community event and a great way to start off the Thanksgiving season.
All right, and my next question is, Zach, how do you believe that the band playing at the game affects the morale of the fans and the players themselves?
Oh, it has an extreme effect, Zarkeem. I know as a player myself on the field, like when just hearing the band march down even from Longshore to Crocker, it changes the whole vibe. It sets the tone for the night, and it leads to a great victory.
All right, thank you. And lastly, Ms. Greenlease, what type of music will you play at the band to get the fans and the team all rallied up for like your side?
Sure. Well, we play a lot of different types of music. You know, we have a great collection of classic rock songs. We try to play things that are current and popular, and just a great mix of things. So when you come to the breakfast, or if you come to any of our games, you know, we try really hard to give a great variety of music and catch excitement for anybody who's going to be there.
All right, thank you. And that's all the time we have. I want to thank Ms. Tabitha Greenlease and Zachariah Adamu for being here, taking your time out of your busy schedule to be here. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
I'm Matt Croach with Triple R News. Thanks for tuning in. This segment is brought to you by and exclusively on Triple R News. Now let's get into the good stuff. So both of you, when did you see your first FHS, LHS football game? The Thanksgiving game, of course.
I was just a kid, probably 12, 13 years old.
And how about
probably
you?
the first.
I was born and raised in Leominster, Lincoln Terrace, so same thing as him. I was a kid, probably, you know, I grew up in Lincoln Terrace. It was all Italian, everybody, and every year there were probably half a dozen of the players were all from the neighborhood, and it was just beyond what it is today. The rivalry was just crazy.
We used to live near the tracks, so we'd run down the tracks.
You lived down the hill from me.
Get over to the fence, and a lot of times we didn't have the money to pay to get in, so we'd have to climb the fence and sort of hop in at the time. But I did that until I can't remember. Then I became a cop. And after I became a cop, I actually started working details. I would actually be one of the police officers working the details. So it goes back to probably 12 or 13 years old.
Seems like times have changed.
Well, my family, my father was born and raised in Fitchburg. My mother was born and raised in Leominster. But I grew up in Leominster, and so we used to, and we both, my brother and I both went to St. Bernard's. So we never played in the game, in the Thanksgiving game. We played football. I did, my brother did, but no, it's become even more for me now because of my son. My son and my daughter both graduated Fitchburg High. He was on the 12-0 football team in 01. and they played all the Division I teams. It wasn't quite the schedule that it is today. You know. So.
Well, speaking of that, what are some traditions that you loved back then? Which one was your favorite? I mean, the times obviously have changed. So, are there any traditions that have changed over time? And what were some of those things that you loved back then?
I think some of the things haven't changed, and that is the whole build-up to the game, right? It'll start in about another week or so, right? Usually around after Veterans Day, people start bringing out their, blue, or buying their blue or red or whatever it might be, and you can feel, the holidays coming, but the game's coming, and it just all starts to build and build. It's a magical feeling. It's the only way they can explain it. It's like your parents said, in February, we're going to Disney. You're a little kid. It's the magic that sort of builds up to it. I think that hasn't been lost. That's not gone away. I still feel that same way as it gets closer and closer. Friends, because you're going to see, people are going to come back for the holidays. And then no matter where anybody is, if you were an alumni of Fitchburg High or Leominster High, you want to be part of that, right? You're still part of that. You want to make your connection to it.
It's become, the older we get, I'm an old timer, so I mean that day is, and that whole week is about people coming home too, all coming back to Fitchburg and Leominster that grew up, went to Fitchburg High, went to Leominster High, and this is like it's their opportunity to catch up from the year past or whatever. So we get people from all over the country that come back home for Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is one of those holidays where it's not about gifts, it's not about money, it's just getting together, eating turkey, and talking about the game and talking about things.
Won.
I know, right? Yeah, right.
Hopefully,
just talking about being back in town.
But we've both been around long enough to know it goes in cycles. Where the Fitchburg team was real hot in certain years. My years, 74, 75, 76, untouchable. So look at the whole picture, and it just, different teams. They'll have an older team, they sort of leave. You have a younger team that's rebuilding. Fitchburg doesn't. Whatever the circumstances are, we all know no Leominster or Fitchburg team will win every single game, and all you have to do is look at the results.
Just weigh them.
Exactly.
So this question is actually directed to Mayor DiNatale. So now the Thanksgiving rivalry is not the only present rivalry among all rivalries between Fitchburg and Leominster. With that being said, did your transition from Leominster to Fitchburg affect the way you viewed, or over time, the friendly or perhaps bitter divide between both cities?
Never bitter.
Okay.
No. I mean, Matt, I grew up in Leominster, but I've been in Fitchburg for over 40 years of my life. So I'm 66.
45, so.
I'm 66. Most of my life I've spent in Fitchburg. So it's,
Well, guys spend his whole career trying to defend the fact that he lived in Leominster. Things happen. No, I mean, things happen. Right? He went to St. Bernard's.
That's right.
I'm sure he, probably, but in his adult, as being an adult and having his kids and family, obviously he was here. As much as everybody likes to claim fame, they don't want to brag that I'm from Leominster, but everybody talks about, see, in your own city, no big deal. But if you're from the other city, hey, he used to be,
I was a Leominster guy.
Fitchburg was a Leominster guy.
Yeah, right.
See, when it fits fits the purpose.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. So I'm just going to transition into something similar to the question.
He actually threw all his clothes away if they were blue.
Really?
Look what I'm wearing today.
He wore this.
Right?
Yeah, he did that for today.
Everything's
but
blue.
he won't wear anything.
I forgot that this was in Fitchburg High.
Yeah,
because I'm not
otherwise-
allowed to do this.
usually he wears-
Don't tell Ray Kazenza that I'm here
won't.
today dressed in
promise.
blue.
He threw everything that he had that was blue away,
He
except
said
for that.
He said to me the last time I was in the building, I was wearing blue, and he goes, "Really, Steve? Really?"
It's so bad. You know what's so bad is I needed a truck for my business, and we really needed one. And I searched everywhere, and the only one they could come up with exactly what I needed, because it was a work truck, is a red truck.
Red truck.
You don't know. You have
Can't
no
have
clue.
that in Leominster. Come on.
Once
Right.
we were trying out signs,
Yeah.
and because we have an older population, and the signs need to be bigger now, street signs, and there are certain colors you can see better at night, and that's science. So we're trying out different color signs. We made the mistake of putting Park Street And one of the samples that we did was in red.
Red.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
The abuse I took.
Yeah.
I said, we're
Yeah.
doing an experiment.
Oh, man.
Now all our signs are blue with a red apple because of Johnny Appleseed. So we took care of that.
Just calm the crowd. Nobody.
Yeah, no, it's for some people this runs deep.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
This
It's
is oil in
historical.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is for the both of you guys. Did any of you play football in high school? If you have, how has the game changed since you were in high school? So this kind of relates to the first question. And is there anything positive and or negative about these changes?
I weighed about 90-something pounds in high school, so there's no way I was going to be out there. No, I mean, as we said, a lot is the same. What's changed is, I think there are more schools that sort of informally recruit from these schools. So kids will go to other schools now where those other schools weren't really players in this sort of game. So, people peel off. It's like anything else. Hockey's the same way. There are certain schools that specialize that and sort of do some recruitment. So that's changed a little bit about it. But no, it's deep. This tradition. You got to understand. People still run around on Thanksgiving Day at the game with jackets and shirts and sweaters.
Yeah.
You've seen them, right? That are, I don't know, 50, 60, 70. I mean, some of these guys have been going. We had a guy, what the heck is his name? Maroney. Mr. Maroney, he was in his 90s. He hadn't missed a game. I mean, this stuff runs deep for people.
Yeah.
Today it might be a little bit different where maybe it doesn't run as deep because they don't understand that long term. This is generations. So a lot of people are new to town. Well, your grandfather probably he had to wear his red Raider clothes. You know what I'm saying? So that there's not that. But it's still, to me, it's still the same. It's, we have TV that can broadcast live. We didn't have that earlier, right? There was radio. So if you couldn't come or you wanted to sit around, mom's home cooking, the aunts and uncle, whoever's there could listen to it. Now you got it live, so maybe not as many people come. But let me tell you, there are people around the world that just want to come home for this game. That hasn't changed. So little things have changed, sure.
The night before, too. Night before is big. The night before Thanksgiving is where people get together in pubs and whatnot.
Places are packed.
And they're packed.
Yeah, they'll come together and they haven't seen each other. It's like a big reunion. But even today, right, with social media, you don't really have to have a reunion anymore. Anybody you really want to know what they're doing, you can find out and be part of that network. Right. When we graduated high school, somebody'd say, I'll see you in the fall. You didn't see, 30 years later, you still haven't seen them yet. You didn't know what they were doing, right?
But I played football was in my blood as a kid. I played Pop Warner in Leominster. 4 years of that, and then on to high school. I played at St. Bernard's. Some might say that I was a decent ball player. I was co-captain of the team, and back then we played Leominster and Fitchburg the 4 years I was at St. Bernard's, and let's just say they weren't fun. we got handily beat every time we played Leominster or Fitchburg. It's different today. I mean, apparently our first game of the year, St. Bernard's beat Fitchburg. Very, very unusual, but they got a heck of a team this year.
But again, a lot of the students have gone off to other schools, and so you don't have the same to pick from. But one thing is there's still good teams. There's never a bad game, even if you lose any game of the season. It's still a good game. Yeah. I can't make every game, so for me to pop open my phone and catch some of the game on LTV or for Fitchburg Access TV, that's remarkable to be able to stay in touch with a game that you couldn't do that 5 or 10 or 20, 30 years ago. It was unthinkable. You either had to be there or they had it on the radio. So there are a lot of good traditions that continue, and mostly as it relates to people. But I feel sometimes for the players there's so much pressure because there's so many generations of people, and there's so much emphasis placed on this one game. When I know one thing, every player, whether they're from Fitchburg or Leominster, you get out in that field, they're playing their heart out. That I know. They're playing their best. This is a big deal, especially if you're a senior. You're playing, you're giving it everything you can. That's what I enjoy about the game. Do I like it when Leominster wins? Yeah. Is it upsetting sometimes when Fitchburg wins? Yeah, it is. But to see people just play their heart out, both teams, is pretty remarkable, because this is it. It's been pounded into them. This is the big game. You could lose every other game in the season, but to win this one, right? It's like the world's watching this one game. You got to win it. So a lot of pressure on kids and students.
That's what they ask. They ask people when they graduate, years afterwards, did you win that game or lose? Did you win or lose? You know?
Yeah. Did you win that game?
Yeah, we did. We had a 2-7 season, but we won the Thanksgiving game. You know what I mean?
There was one of the guys, I'll leave his name out, but he was one of our featured speakers because the Elks puts on this thing every year. And so he was talking about, the coach said, go home, get some sleep, no messing around, curfew time is, I don't know, 8 o'clock, whatever it was, go to sleep. He went down the mall to visit his girlfriend. He still regrets going down to see his girlfriend. You know what I mean? He still has his shoes. He still looks at the shoes. I mean, you can't go back and re-win a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so to him, he thought, there are a couple of things that I would change if I was to do it again. But it was never about playing the game. Everybody says, no, I played my absolute hardest. See, some of those things will never change, right?
Yeah.
Just play in the present, right?
Yes.
I'll have my Doug Grutchfield 12-0 jacket my kid's year. He gave me that jacket, rest his soul, and
you'll hang on that.
I'll
forever.
be wearing. I wear once a year.
He'll be the
Thanksgiving game.
90-year-old guy.
I'll be the 90-year-old guy wearing the jacket from 2001. Yeah.
But you can see whether it's ethnic groups. It was at one time a lot of French Canadian players or Irish. Then it was a lot of Italian players.
Right.
Now there are a lot of Latino players that are playing the game.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that's really cool about this area. The ethnic groups that are here, very diverse. Which is really cool. It's the real true melting pot. That's the other thing that these teams and these games do. When you hear the names, you're like, hey, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So when you speak of a melting pot, when you speak of diversity on the teams, do you feel that your team, both of your teams, have that diversity?
Absolutely.
Or do you, and honestly and truthfully, do you feel that lacks?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think so.
Yeah, see, manufacturing was always big, whether it was paper in Fitchburg or Leominster is manufacturing plastic. And ethnic groups come here, and that's their way of assimilating, right? Sometimes they can't speak the language, but manufacturing always gave everybody a job, right? So we're really diverse from the very beginning. It's very kind of vogue and fashionable today to say the word, diverse.
Yeah.
But we always have been, and our teams have reflected that as well.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yeah, you got. This school is over 50% is Latino.
Yeah.
I mean, this high school.
Asian Hmong,
right?
I mean, the
Hmong is another.
Ghana, people from Ghana.
Sure.
But all you have to do is look at the flags in the different schools and realize how many kids are actually from that country or migrated or first generation, whatever that country is. But they'll just keep the tradition up. There'll be a female on one of these teams someday.
Yeah.
There's no question. There's no
definitely.
question about it. I mean, it's just a matter of timing, and it's going to happen. I've watched them play hockey and softball and fast speed, and let me tell you, I could never keep up with any single one of them. So, no, but there are so many good things, and I get excited just sitting here, talking about it. So many good things have changed.
That's hopeful.
Yeah.
Great. So we're going to move on to a question directed toward, I guess, both of you. So the rivalry, as author Mark Bedanza wrote in the Sentinel Enterprise in November of 2017, is one of the oldest football rivalries in New England. So do you believe in the upward trajectory of this rivalry, or do you think at some point it'll die down? At some point it might, see some stagnance here and there?
I don't know. Something this.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just.
I really don't.
Don't they still do the drum thing and all that here? Is that still a tradition where they meet? I don't know, but wherever it is, and they do this thing with the drum.
I don't know.
They still do that. I mean, is that still a tradition?
I know they still do the burning of the shoe. don't
Yeah,
they?
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Right.
Remember, as generations go, they might not know the whole history of it, or then maybe their parents and their parents' parents didn't, but they'll still understand the importance of this, and they'll still understand the tradition of it, right? I mean, you don't have to go back to the first game to understand it. I don't think it'll change that much. As I said, TV just, people thought TV will, bring the attendance down, but think of how many people who can't be there, or in another country or another state, or physically can't be there. Just think of that. How many more people, how many more fans they have who are watching this game, who maybe couldn't be there in a seat,
Don't they do the streaming and all that
They
stuff?
do stream live all over the
right.
world. I mean, it's amazing. And they can
you see it
actually
everywhere.
watch where people are
Right.
streaming in from. It's incredible.
My brother watches it, he's in California.
Yeah.
He's been in California for 45 years.
There's people in Turkey
That's what he
that
does.
get up early
Yeah.
to watch. I mean, it's. I don't think that's. There'll be changes, but nothing will change that. Pulling. Being part of something that's so unique in an area. So yeah, I mean, will it phase itself out? I don't think so.
Let's hope not. Believe me.
Yeah, no.
It's too
keep it.
too important, too impressive too. It's a really, it's kind of unique to us, to this area too. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you said New England. You could argue that it's the oldest rivalry and probably one of the top
country.
5 in the country. I mean, been going
Anytime
on
I'm
that
out of
long.
town anywhere and I
Yeah.
get into conversation, they're like, yeah, that people from everywhere know about this.
Know about it,
It's a
yeah.
big deal. If you're in the sporting world, you just know this is a big deal. I mean, this is something they wish they were part of. You see what I'm saying? That's why. Is once you understand how special it is, and you don't have to know every player, every coach, everything. Just know that it's special. And when you know it's special, my feeling is that, and hopeful that the tradition will continue.
That's great pastime too. So before I go into the next question, you guys did talk about the similarities, what really unites the teams, but some viewers at home might be interested in what makes both teams distinct, what makes both teams stand out, unique, and this is where you draw the line. What makes the Leominster High School team unique, their football team unique, and what makes Fitchburg High School's football team unique? What is something that you can point out that says, oh, we have this, or oh, I see this as something that we have that maybe Leominster lacks, or maybe Fitchburg lacks, or just something that's unique. You can just talk about something that's different.
I think on our end, the unique part has always been, you hear Belichick all the time. He's the first guy to come to the microphone at the end and say, we didn't do our job. We didn't do a good enough job. I think that's been in Leominster sports, in particular in football, forever. We didn't play the best we could, or we didn't, you know what I'm saying? In other words, we can be better. That kind of, I think that's unique to our system. Yeah.
I don't know if it's, I don't think it's so much unique, because I think the game is bigger than any one individual or team. It's that game is just what we're trying to describe. It's huge. It's something that people always remember. It's incorporated into your psyche, something I won't ever understand because I never played it. Yeah. But for people who have, it's just a big piece of their lives, the history in their lives. They'll always remember that. And I think it's a credit to the coaching staffs, the schools in general.
One thing that happens is it doesn't get dirty. And at one time, not that it was dirty, but people took it with so much passion that sometimes it got out of hand.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it got out of hand. And that part seems to have subsided. It didn't come out of respect. It just seems like a rivalry. When you have a rival, you're supposed to have a rival, right? And so sometimes things probably, I don't know if you've ever heard about them, but things that get out of hand and between the two communities, and there was vandalism sometimes. That's not where anybody wants to take it. In fact, this year, it might have to wait till next year. I'd really like to do other things that other people can participate in for the rivalry. And what I really wanted to do this year is do a tug of war. And we could do it over the Nashua somewhere. And obviously, whatever team and there are a couple of spots where it levels out. Obviously, if the team that loses ends up in the river. But just think of other things that we can do where people can participate. Where other people can participate in other kinds of things, other group activities, and be competitive, and still be part of that rivalry. It doesn't have to just be football. It could be other things, right? Maybe we have a strongman contest. Other things that we can all get behind our team, right? Isn't that what we like to do? I think that the part that is unique is very seldom, when you leave Boston, there are no other communities as large as ours. And then all of a sudden you get to the central part of the state after you leave Boston. You leave Arlington and Littleton and Harvard and Air and Shirley and all of those places, Lexington, Concord, right? Lincoln. And then you get to these two medium-sized cities, 40, 50,000 people.
Right.
And we're right next to each other. You understand?
Yeah.
So we're right next to each other. So there's a lot of similarities. So that's where your rivalry comes in. Leominster's right next to Fitchburg. We're same size. We have a lot of good talent. And that isn't going to go away, So maybe we can have some other fun and do other things that involve other people for the rivalry.
Other things that unite people.
Yeah, exactly. This is what you wanted to do, right?
Exactly, yeah.
We've all been around, like I said, to have had a cycle where we won games where we lost games.
And they do run in cycles. They seem
Sure.
to be like 3 or 4 years. It's
Yes,
one school.
The pattern.
And
Yeah.
that's right. The patterns, right?
So we're going to end it off here just by asking, who do you, both of you, with all honesty, with all respect, who do you predict will win this year's game?
It's going to be, I think if you look team for team, it's going to be a perfect rivalry. I don't think anybody will run away with it.
Yeah.
So you don't think that one team, in terms of score, in terms of who do you think will actually take home the win for this game? Do you
Obviously, Leominster,
or-
he'll say Fitchburg, but
Yeah.
but the teams are, I think the teams are both in rebuilding mode, right? I
Pretty
mean,
evenly matched.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the records, I would say Fitchburg's going to come out on top. But again,
Anything
toss
can
it all out
happen.
the window
Yeah.
on that day.
All the rules go away.
It just doesn't hold up any on that
Yeah.
day. It really doesn't.
This is that
Yeah.
one game. In China, for instance, right, there's one test that's given at the high school level. That's it. And you either do really well on it or you don't. That's that one test. So you work your whole life. As a kid, these kids played, scrap football in their yards, pickup games, then Pop Warner or youth football, and then they move on to high school. It used to be junior high, move on to high school, and that's it. This is that one game. For a lot of players, this might be the last game they ever play
Right.
in organized football.
Yeah, and I want absolutely. I'm predicting Fitchburg to win, but you know what? I also, not to get schmaltzy about it, I hope nobody gets hurt. Everyone goes home
it's a good
healthy
game.
and watch a
Yeah.
game, and it's a
Yeah.
good game, and they
It's
go
not
and
a blowout either way.
have some turkey and enjoy the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. There seems to be more stuff that brings people together, both Leominster and Fitchburg, than stuff that divides them over a rivalry. Because in some towns in the country, it's obviously a bit more bitter than
Right.
sweet.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, every player, and I say this every year at the Elks, I'm like, listen, because there's so much pressure put on them. You got to play the game. Not everybody does.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to play the game. That's an honor. That should be an honor
Yeah.
in and of itself. Right?
That's something I missed.
Part of a team.
Yeah.
Right? You're part of a team.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys for being here. Anyways, the questions that I asked, I hope that they do reflect the Fitchburg and Leominster think. And of course, they are rooting for both of you guys, and both Fitchburg and Leominster. Again, you talked about what unites Fitchburg and Leominster, and hopefully that serves as a testament to the bittersweet rivalry that we talked about.
Well, it starts at the top.
Yeah.
We'll kid each other about this,
Yeah,
make
yeah.
it bad and all that, and then we're right back to work the next
Right.
day, right? I mean,
Yeah, we
that's-
do have a bet. What's the bet going to be? What are we going to do?
I'm gonna leave it up
we
to
didn't
you
do
this
one
year.
last year. Do we do the
Tired
ring the
of
bell
winning.
thing or what? Is that what we're going to do?
Tired of winning. Can't take all these
Tie,
wins.
yeah.
No, but
We won last year, by the way.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
But we'll do arm wrestling or something. See what
We'll
happens.
do
An
something.
arm wrestle.
We'll do something. Yeah.
As long as,
He
the,
has
as long as the bet includes food,
If
I'm all
Fitchburg
set.
wins, he wears a Red Raider shirt.
Yeah, we do all
and
that
vice
stuff.
versa.
I've
I
done
wear
so
Blue
many.
Devil.
After being
right.
there for 25 years,
Yeah.
I've come to sweep, to clean the front stairs of City Hall. You get those cycles, you lose.
Shovel out
you
a
know?
parking space in
There
a
you go.
snowstorm.
Yeah,
Someone
whatever.
mentioned that today. My HR director said, maybe you could do that. I said, as long as if we make a couple of bucks and give it to charity,
We
that's
rang the bell at
we
the
rang the bell at
Salvation Army in the
Yeah.
other person's shirt, so if you
Right.
remember, so you lost the Fitchburg, you'd have to
Right.
wear the Fitchburg
We
shirt.
might do something like that again. Yeah.
All in good taste.
Right.
Thank you. All right, well, I'm Matt Croach with Triple R News. Thanks for tuning in, and see you at the game.